All right, good. Boys and girls, if you're just coming in on this as a recording, this is where I'm going to explain how to do the City of Ember Chapter 3 summary. It's important that if you have not watched this in the lesson or actually in this video, to watch it now, because I want you to see how to answer the summary in a new way. Oh, we have some people in the lobby. Looks like we lost some connection, so let those people back in. Guys, sorry I didn't see that. We had some weird things showing up on our Teams is being teamy again, so a little bit of that was hard to see. So you didn't miss anything if you came on this. If you did miss a dictation, I'll be recording it. I record it. We'll post it tonight. Looks like everybody's back in the house now, which is good to see. What I'd like you to do is we're going to be going over the City of Ember Chapter 3 summary. We're going to start by doing our paper, and I'm going to put on our document camera so you can see it. I want to set up our paper for our summary. I also want to set up the rubric for this. And then I want to tell you a tale about a student who did not follow the directions correctly and kind of what they did. So I want you to see how to correctly do a part of the summary that we are introducing today. So let's begin with the parts we already know how to do. We're going to take a lined piece of paper, and I always want you to write this on paper before you put it into forms. This is how we're going to be doing it also in the classroom, and it's also a good way, so just in case you we want to look at what we've written. We want to check what we've written. We have it written here on paper before we enter it into our form system. So I want you to always put your name on top. Today's date, which is August 13th, 2020. On the right-hand side, boys, or the left-hand side, we're going to be putting what our assignment is here. Today, our assignment is, and I'll put COE for City of Ember. And then I'm going to put Chapter 3 summary. Just to remind you of what I want you to put on your paper, I want you to place up here summary words. That means every time you read a page, I want you to put one summary word here. This is to remind you about what the book is telling you about for each page. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down a few spaces, and I'm going to put here summary sentence. So I'll put 12-word summary sentence. It kind of slid over a little bit when I was doing it on my with my red line, and that's probably because I saw that hole. It's okay. I generally like to try to keep it on the left side, so it's probably not mystery. It's being a good model here. 12-word summary sentence. We always use a starter for our 12-word summary sentence. Since we're reading Chapter 3 today, I'd like to kind of get an idea, if you remember, what would be a good summary starter for today's summary sentence. So let me go ahead and pick one person at random to tell me what would be a good summary starter. What would be a good summary starter here? Aubrey. Aubrey, if you can hear me okay, go ahead and take your microphone on, turn it on, and just tell me what you say would be a good summary sentence. Looks like Aubrey's in the lobby. Looks like, okay. Aubrey, looks like we're still having those connection issues. I just saw that you were in the lobby, so I won't ask you to read what we're doing. I'm recording this too, so that you'll have it later on if you need to for the summary. What would be a good summary sentence starter here, boys and girls? Annabelle, you want to tell me? Annabelle, can you unmute your microphone? Oh, teams, it looks like you're being teamy today because they're all, oh, there we go. It's okay. I was worried that you weren't your connection wasn't working. I was like getting upset with teams for being teamy today. So I'm glad you had that connection working. Annabelle, I just wanted to see if you could tell me the summary sentence starter. How would you start this summary sentence?
this chapter was mainly about?
You could say that this chapter was mainly about. We could also even say here, chapter 3 was mainly about, to even be more specific. So once you have that summary sentence starter, you're ready to go. I might just put it down here as an example. So for me, I would say chapter 3 was mainly about. And Annabelle, yours is fine too. I just like to have that chapter 3 to make sure a little more detail. Make sure you're muting your microphone, boys and girls. So when you come on, unless you have your so make sure you have your microphone muted when you're on. Just want to make sure. Okay. Carter, do you have something you want to add on with that?
Yes, I want to add on. What was it? Oh yeah, this amazing chapter was mainly about.
I guess you could say that too, especially if you thought it was amazing. That's a great way to say it. The best thing is also to remember that we want to add in about what chapter was specifically what. So if we said, if we're reading chapter 3, it's always good to add in those words chapter 3 so we know what we're talking about here. Gabriella?
I was wondering how long is chapter 3? Like, chapter 2 was a really long chapter, but how long is chapter 3?
Chapter 3 in the actual book is 13 pages. So what I'm going to be doing is after lunch, I'm giving you a lot of time to read today. So it's not as long as chapter 2. Chapter 2 was so big we decided to chop it up into 2 parts. But we're just going to make chapter 3. It's about 13 pages. I'm not sure how it looks on the digital version, but it's about 13 pages on the book version. All right, boys and girls, I want to show you the new thing we're going to be doing today on summaries. And we have our summary words, our 12-word summary sentence. And the next thing I want you to do is a couple spaces down, we're going to actually introduce what's called the summary picture. The summary picture is a picture I would like you to draw that matches what was going on in your summary sentence. In this space right here, I want you to draw a picture of what's happening in your summary sentence. I'm going to show you a model. Miss Church helped me out with these, so I want to show you what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to go over and get that from go over to Mr. Church's area. Thank you, Miss Church. Of course. This is an example that Miss Church did based on a summary of Gregor the Overlander, which is another book we're going to be doing later on this year. We had someone write a summary sentence. The chapter was mainly about, and by the way, boys and girls, pro tip, this is not what actually happens in chapter 3 of Gregor the City of Ember. So don't copy the summary sentence and don't copy this picture because this is a totally different book. I just want to show you what a summary picture means and what's important about it. The summary here was the chapter was mainly about a battle in a dark cave between the rats and Gregor's group. The one thing I liked about Miss Church's picture that she drew here is that the summary sentence matches the picture exactly. She said these words here, dark cave, and look right here. There's a dark cave. Good job, Mazzy. Jace, what's your question? Jace Parcell, Jace P, I mean, Jace P?
Wouldn't we want to do the summary sentence before the picture?
Yes. You want to do your summary sentence before the picture. This is already what Miss Church wrote the summary sentence, and then she made the picture. So you want your summary sentence and then your picture. Let me show you some other things that I liked about how she matched here. In this summary, there was like rats. They were, in Gregor the Overlander, they're pretty big rats. So she drew some really big, creepy looking rats. Perfectly matches. She also had the words battle in here, so there's a battle. So you're noticing how what's happening here is Gregor's group and the rats look like they're ready to fight. Exactly what happened in the summary sentence. I also like how she used the words Gregor's group here and then actually drew the group that is actually in the story. This is a really good match. Carter, do you have your hand raised? Okay, Jace P, do you have your hand raised or just forget to put your hand up? Okay. My team's thing is a little bit unclear on the bottom here about who, but I think, Kate, do you have a question?
Yeah, so are we going to draw this drawing, or is this just like an example for when we have to when we get back in like real school?
No, this is an example of what I want you to do now, because what you're going to be doing is you're going to be showing this on a Flipgrid video, your picture. So
Oh, okay.
this is an example of what I want you to do on the assignment today and show on Flipgrid. Don't copy this actual picture though, Kate. I want to show you what's next though. And this is Miss Church did a really good drawing that matches the summary picture. Now, I'm not going to name names because this is a student you wouldn't know anyway, because it was a long time ago, but I wanted to show you a tragic example of what happens when you don't follow the picture with the summary words. This actually happened, and I just wanted to let you know what happened. Now, I was doing the same, they had the same summary sentence, and then this student, I'll call them that kid drew a summary picture that was like this. And see if you can tell me why this might not be the best. The summary was the chapter was mainly about a battle in a dark cave between the rats and Gregor's group. Can you show me some things in here that were like, this doesn't really match the summary picture? And this really happened, so I want you to see this so you know that I want to make sure we avoid some things that don't match. So, Ms. Church, could you pick somebody who was might notice something about our summary picture that's just not quite right compared to the summary sentence?
Macy.
Macy, do you want to tell me?
It's like totally different than like what the sentence is. Like it doesn't like go with the sentence.
What? Give me one example of that. Just one. I just want to see one thing that's not really right here.
Like a rainbow and like trees.
Stop right there. Exactly right. Look at that rainbow. The sentence says it takes place in a dark cave, and this person, that kid, drew a rainbow. And they may have been really into rainbows, but that's not really in a dark cave, and it was nowhere in the story. Anything else that you notice other than the rainbow? Let me ask someone else to show me something else that doesn't quite belong. Henry, do you notice anything else that doesn't really belong in this summary sentence about a dark cave between the rats and Gregor's group?
It's sunny and there's no rats. And
Yeah, that's a really good point right here. I mean, it's like, it's sunny. It's not a dark cave. They just totally drew a sun. It's almost like they didn't actually read the chapter. They just put in a few things because they like to draw those things.
And there's not even any rats in the picture.
Yeah, the rats are, well, maybe they're over here, but
Yeah, he moved the printer. He didn't like where it was.
yeah, it's not really what it should have been. A good point, Henry. Does anybody notice anything else that we haven't mentioned that it's like doesn't really belong in this summary sentence? I'm just going to go ahead and take a look, boys and girls, and let's pick somebody to tell me what else doesn't belong. Allison, you want to tell me what else doesn't belong?
The rats are saying we could all be friends when in the sentence it says they are having a battle.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, it's like if it's going to be a battle, you're really not going to have the rats saying we could all be friends. You know, this is not going to work. So clearly the person who drew, that kid who drew this summary sentence or the summary picture didn't really bother to match it up with what was really going on in their sentence. And there's one more thing. I'll ask one more person to point out one more thing, and then I think we're ready to start up here. So what else do we have? Alex, is there anything else that no one else said that you could see in this summary sentence picture that really doesn't work, that doesn't match the summary sentence?
Rainbow.
We've got the rainbow, Alex, but what else do we see? Big pro tip hint here.
For Greg's group, it's not really a group, it's just two people.
That's a really good point, and I noticed that too. It's like Gregor's group really didn't have the rest of the group in there. Good observation. I'm going to show you just two more things. Also, clouds inside a dark cave. What? A tree inside a dark cave? No. So clearly that kid did not match the summary sentence with the picture. So I want you to use that today when you are doing your summary picture to think about. Before we go to lunch, I want to show you the assignment so you can see what I'm asking you to do. After you get back from lunch, so you can take a break at lunchtime, do lunch, have a little recess time. After you get back from doing your lunch and doing a little bit of break, what I would like you to do is to work on your assignment. You're going to read the City of Ember chapter 3, the whole chapter, which is right here. One thing I want to remind you, boys and girls, didn't do a hyperlink for City of Ember. If you need to get the City of Ember book, and I think Carter, you were asking me about where to find that. What you can do is if you're not sure and don't have the City of Ember, you can go ahead and go to right here on my class website. In this link, I'm kind of highlighting right here, it says City of Ember. So if you click on that, Carter and anybody else is looking for it, you'll find it right there. So if you're ever stuck, not sure where to get the book, it's right there. Our next thing is, let's go ahead and take a look at the next part of our assignment. Make sure you're muting your microphones. And Derek, do you have a question? All right, I see a lot of people who might have joined without muting their microphones. I'm just going to turn those off so we can go through this last part. Let me show you the rest and then I'll answer questions about it. I just want to make sure I get all the rest of the assignment so you can see it. Once you've read chapter 3, City of Ember, I want you to click and enter your summary words in 12-word summaries on the link I'm showing you. I do want you to write them down on your paper so that you have them ready to type in. When you're ready to type them in, I want you to type them in on the link that I'm showing you. Step 3. Once you have a picture on your paper, and I'll show you the model again one more time. Once you have a summary sentence, and I'm just using this one because it has a great picture. If you have your summary sentence and your picture, you should have your summary words on top too. Then you're going to be going into Flipgrid, and the assignment for Flipgrid is actually in the agenda. When you go into Flipgrid, I'm going to ask you to show me your summary picture, kind of like this. And I'm going to take out screen share so you can kind of see. I want to model that one more time. So you should see myself on the camera, really big now. So it's going to be like this. I want you to really put it up close so everyone can see it. And then I want you to say, this is my summary sentence. Here I've got a dark cave. Here are the big rats. This is the battle. This is Gregor's group. And then hold it nice and close and talk nice and loud so I can hear what you're saying about the picture. Once you're done with that, your Flipgrid assignment is done. Make sure you hold it up so it's really nice and close. Also, if you want to read your summary sentence to me like this, that'll help me to really know that you've matched your summary picture with your summary. We're going to go to lunch right now. What I'd like you to do is, if you still have questions about this, I'll stay here for a few minutes. If your hand is raised, I'll answer those questions. If you're done, you may leave the meeting. Please leave the meeting by keeping your microphone off. That'll help keep distractions away.
Okay.
Ask some people right now to go ahead and, Derek, what's your question?
Mr. Yates,
Hi.
Yes, Derek.